Yeah, a little more. Ah, a little more. Oh. Get down to business. Oh, so out of focus. All right. So, continuing working on my project for Sakura D3 drift car, and I'm using a HPI Detmoso Pantera body, and I've got it all cut up. And I mentioned it in my paint when I did the paint job for it. I had mentioned that all these are going to be working. There's going to be little servos mounted, and the doors will open and close. The trunk, which is actually the front, is going to open, and the rear, which is the hood, because the motor is mounted in the rear on a Pantera, is going to open up. So what I'm going to do today is install some steel mesh in all of the vents in the grill area. So on the hood, on the front bumper, and on the rear bumper. This is going to be where the exhausts are going to go out, and then steel mesh right there. So I'm going to measure that out and cut that today. And then also I got some stuff in the mail, some accessories. I got a little intercooler, which the intercooler pipes were really poorly adhered. The adhesive that they used, I don't know what it was. It was like some like putty. It wasn't even like glue. It was really weird feeling. And it wasn't like Teflon or plumber's tape or something like that. It was like gooey, and it didn't hold. So I'm going to epoxy those in place. And this is actually for a Slash, Traxxas Slash. But I'm going to be putting like an interior cockpit in there. So the mounts are going to be mounted to the plate that's going to be in the front. I'm going to make a video about that too. So you'll see what I'm talking about. Might not make any sense. Oh shit. Okay, so then I got these little side mirrors, and these are going to actually have LEDs that run on the inside. You can't really see it because it's connected right now, but right in there, there's a spot where this holds the wire right here, that little slit. I don't know if it's focused or not, but the wire goes in there, and then a little LED comes in here. So this part's going to be blocked off by a reflective sticker. And then the turn signal is going to come on through here. And it's kind of neat. These use the same plugs for most. I say most because they're always changing, but they use the same kind of connectors for like a light board for like a light kit. these use the same plugs. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use the same light kit that I'm going to be using, or if I'm going to use a second one, because I have a couple lying around, so we'll see what happens. It's kind of cool. It came with 2 extra, and I don't know how you'd be able to use both, because only one LED fits inside, so that's kind of cool. It comes with an extra set of wires, but I'm not going to worry about that today. And I went ahead and already installed the sticker. That's when I thought, hey, I should make a video. And then these just pop right in place. There's little plastic, and I got these for about just under $2 on eBay. And then those just slide right in there. Probably looks ridiculous, me hunching over. I should probably get a second camera. Yeah, right there, a little mirror. So then the other one, and then I'm gonna like more than likely glue these in place, because I can see these hitting a decent bump, and I can see these popping out real easy, because I mean, just like that, they're gonna pop right off. And it comes with secondary lights, but doesn't come with secondary little pieces of cheap plastic. Okay, so well, the doors are done. And also, company I buy a lot of my parts from is RC Mart. I like their online store. Super fast shipping, and last time I ordered some parts, they had sent some 10 scale little license plates, so I'm going to go ahead and just slap that on the bumper right away. I couldn't wait. This should be one of the last things I do, but that's fine. Yeah, so when I cut stickers, anything that's got adhesive, I don't have to put that back in there, anything that's got adhesive, I always use an X-Acto blade, obviously for cutting. Scissors are fine in a pinch. Like, I take scissors out when I go out RCing in the field, and like, I take a pair of scissors then, because it's easier than carrying around. I mean, what the hell are you going to cut on this, the rock or the ground, and then dull your blade? And so anyways, I always use an X-Acto blade, and I keep all of the backings on as long as I can until I actually absolutely have to remove the sticker backing. And then I also use the X-Acto blade as a finger, as like a 6th finger, extra finger, because when you go and peel it off, any little bit of oil that gets on there is just going to gum up, and it's going to just decrease or degrade the life of the adhesive. So I try not to touch it as I'm sitting here touching the part. I'm going to stick it on, but whatever, it's going to be, that part's going to be fine. So yeah, and then I install it using the X-Acto blade. And then that way you don't get, like I said, you don't get your finger oils on there. And then same deal, instead of peeling it off with your fingertip, because chances are you're going to gum it up with your fingers, I just peel the backing off. And I'll just eye this one up. I won't measure it out. That'll work. That looks pretty center. Tell me if you think it is or isn't. That looks good, huh? Yeah, we'll go with that. Alright. So, what I went ahead and did ahead of time was measured out. So onto like the steel mesh. So I did ahead of time is went ahead and I measured out all of the dimensions I'm going to need to cut the steel mesh to fit on the underside. And what I did was I measured about 1/4 of an inch past on each side. And so I went through and I labeled, hood. That way I know exactly what the dimensions are. I don't have to eyeball it. I don't have to waste time cutting off more than I need. So that's why I write all that. I just write measurements down, because I'm not going to remember half the stuff anyways. So, alright. I don't need to tell you the measurements. So, well, I'm going to end up saying them as I go. So let's see here. So the hood is 3.5 by an inch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the lines. I'm going to put the lines on a halfway in between the squares, because each square on the steel mesh is 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go in between, because that's going to be where I'm cutting, and that's tip to tip is what I measured. So if any of that makes any sense at all. All right, so let's see here. 3.5 inches. 1 inch wide. 3.5 inches. All right, so that's going to be for the hood. Some cutters, angle cutters. Oh, jeez. Out of shape much? Oh man, that's pain. Oh, I'm gonna be here all day. You know what? Dremel with the metal cutoff bit. All right, I'm gonna go grab my Dremel. All right. So I got the Dremel with the cutoff bit. Oh, where did I put my mask? So this is all personal preference. I always use the eye protection just because I'd rather not get a shard of metal in my eye. The eyeballs are good for seeing. And then I use a mask just because metal flakes, I've had it in the past where I get metal flake, inhale it, cutting off metal, drilling metal. I'm a amateur machinist, so when I machine parts for the hobby or for work, I always wear some kind of face and mouth protection, so I'm not breathing in these metal shavings that are chipping off and getting it lodged in my lungs. So I use a mask, so you don't have to, but that's why I do. So my voice is gonna be a little muffled. Oh, and the mask also comes in handy because I do a lot of airbrushing, so doubles. So I usually have it on anyways when I'm doing work on the RC. All right. So there you go. All right. So that's for the hood. I'm gonna go ahead and just do the rest on my own. I'll come back for the talk off camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest on my own, and then I'm gonna come back and go ahead and mix up my epoxy, and just show a couple little videos of how I mix epoxy, what I use to mix it, what I use to apply it. If anybody if anybody watches this and they're interested in, you know, applications of epoxy and how to use it and what kinds work best and yada yada yada, just, you know, go ahead, leave me a comment, and I'll make a extended video. I could talk at lengths about epoxies and adhesives. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, measure and cut up the rest of them, and when I'm done with that, I'll come back here and derpa derpa. Now that it smells like burnt metal shavings in the house. All right, I got all the pieces cut out. I'm going to use cardboard to put down my epoxy and Q-tips to apply it. So what I do is I cut one of the heads off. That way now I can stir the epoxy, and then I can apply it, and then if I get any overlay right away, I can just flip it around and clean it up real quick. So that's why I use Q-tips. Some people use like wooden dowels, but I figure everybody has Q-tips. I just get a couple made right away. So then all it is it's 1 part hardener to 1 part epoxy. So lay down the... I always use a little bit more hardener. Oh, I can go ahead and do the air cooler right away. Now you got to work fast with this stuff because it cures in 5 minutes. So you have 5 minutes of play. You have 5 minutes of leeway to get the epoxy on where it has to go. I leave the bottles on their side, that way it's they're ready to pour. So you want to mix it together nice and even. And it's going to start kind of getting like one side's a little darker than the other side. The hardener, I think it's well, I'm not going to look right now, but one of them looks a slight shade darker than the other, and when you start getting it together, it's going to kind of get more transparent, or translucent instead of transparent. So, alright, and then I wipe off the excess because there's no guarantee that that stuff on the tip of your Q-tip is actually like mixed. So drop a little bit, put a little bit down in here. Making sure not to get any on the aluminum. And then I'll just wipe off the extra. And that is not enough. So add a little more. Okay, let's see if that's enough. You know, I might as well do both sides right away. And like I said, you got to work pretty quick with this stuff. This just might be enough epoxy for the radiator. I didn't know it was going to take that much. I thought it was just going to be a little drop in there, and then that was going to be enough. But there's a lot of play in these parts. Okay, we got a little bit of squeezing coming out, so let's get these. Get out of the way, rubber spacer. Damn it. Alright, well, I'll just take a little bit off here then. Alright. So, and then any bit that comes out, then like I said, I use the Q-tip and my finger. Get any of the excess off. Make sure that they're at the right angle. Sorry, it's like dead silent. I should just keep talking throughout the whole thing. I'll probably cut that part out. And you want to make sure that it's all flat and level how you want it. And like I said, it'll be 5 minutes. It's a quick cure. So 5 minutes to play with. It's not straight. Alright. Hopefully that'll hold better. Oh. Might as well. It's getting a little tackier, so it's almost cured. You have to move, not so fast that you're careless, but you got to move pretty quick with the 5-minute epoxy stuff. Just be mindful of how much time you have left. I set a timer before I started this section of the video. And I talked for about 5 minutes, and now I got about 5 minutes left. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Oh, yep, she's almost done. Uh-oh. Hurry. And when it gets real tacky towards the end of its life, go for the thicker spots on your where you had where you had mixed it, because then that stuff's going to be cured last. It's the thicker part of the... Oh, geez. Now I'm just rambling. Not making any sense. Here we go. There it is. Whew. A little bit on the mirror. That's a shame. Nothing a little acetone won't take care of, though. Yeah. Get everything that I can get off with this. Alright. Make sure I didn't get any on the door. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to do another so yeah, next I'm gonna do another patch of epoxy over here for the hood. Which, did I cut it right? Barely. Oh, you're scraping by, bud. Alright, I'm gonna have to cut the last little bit of angle off on that. Yeah. A little too wide there at the bottom. Okay. I'm not gonna get the Dremel back out for that. Jeez, watch out, lose an eye. Holy shit. Hotcakes. Good God. Don't step on that. Holy shit. They go flying. Look out. Oh, man. Yikes. Look out. Oh, God. Okay, so I went ahead and I stand behind the camera here so I can see what's going on. I went ahead and bent the the steel mesh to fit the to fit the contours of the bumper, so you can kind of see cutouts for the lights. But yeah, that's just gonna pop right in place. Like for the rear, it'll pop right in place here. It fits nice. And then this one, it fits right in there. Little cutouts for the lights. Now I knocked everything all crooked. There. So now it's just going to be the same deal. I'm just going to stir up some epoxy, apply it. Really nothing to show. It's going to be the same deal before. Just mix it up and apply it on there. And I'm going to use these. I'm going to see. I haven't tried it yet, but I want to see if it works. But I want to use these magnets. This is supposed to be steel mesh. This ain't steel. Oh, what a bunch of bullshit. Huh. Stainless steel mesh? It's the only thing I can think of why it's not magnetized. Ah, what a bummer, man. Well, maybe I can do something like this. And in between on the vents. There we go. Okay, that'll work. So I'll keep it in place with these magnets and the ruler. It's ridiculous. But you work with what you got. So I'll be able to do the bumpers, kind of. I don't know, I'll have to find more metal to put behind this. But so then all I'm going to do is, instead of putting it on and then gluing it, I'm going to take and then just run epoxy. And I might actually try using shoe goo. So I might try shoe goo on the hood and see how it works, because shoe goo will get through. I'll go grab a bottle of it. Shoe goo's pretty awesome stuff. It's in the kitchen. Yeah. I said it's in the kitchen. Shoe goo. Awesome. If you don't like working with Plastidip and you need something that's both waterproofing and an adhesive and not just waterproofing like Plastidip, shoe goo. It's semi-pliable after it dries, so it has like that kind of feel like Plastidip, where it still kind of bends, but it's a little more rigid, and it holds a lot, and it actually holds. It's like it's an adhesive and a water sealant all in one. So like for my jet boat, my RC jet boat, I wish, right? So my RC jet boat, all of the electronics are glued in with this stuff, and then all of the sealants are also with this. The outputs and inputs for like the water-cooled electronics are all sealed with this stuff, and it's, like I said, it's waterproof, and now it doesn't peel off. It's a pain in the butt to get this stuff loose again, so whatever you glue down with it, make sure you want it to stay. That's the only thing with that. So I might actually try this. Make sure it's lined up. Now they also oh jeez, this isn't gonna work. The positive side of Shoe Goo is that unlike the 5-minute epoxy, this stuff takes 24 hours to cure. So you have a lot more working time with this stuff. So you don't have to rush like with the 5-minute epoxy. So yeah, why not? I'm gonna try it. Now you can use your fingers. A lot of guys online use their fingers. I use it when I have to, or my finger. I use my finger to spread this stuff around when I have to, but there's no need to do it on here because it's straight lines. There's no nooks and crannies, so I can just get it with the Q-tip. I don't have to worry about applying this stuff with my finger because it's a pain to get off too once you got it on your finger. Alright. Where's the cap? Cap. Huzzah. Get this in place quick. Make sure you drop it right. Oh yeah. That's gonna do the trick, I think. And I can run some filler along the edges so that way it stays. But I don't think any came over and oozed out on the. Yeah, this is a much better idea than the epoxy. So much for the epoxy idea. I was ripping and raring to go with the epoxy, but Shoe Goo, it's all about improvising, working on the fly, you know, trust your instincts. Nine times out of 10, I have an idea when I have the entire process, what I thought was what I was gonna have figured out, and I thought it was gonna be all in stone. And the last minute I switch, I have like a feeling like, oh, I don't know, I think I should try this. 9 times out of 10, it ends up being a good call. So, just saying, go with your gut. If you have any instinct at all, like with, oh man, I should do this, I should do that, go for it. And if you mess up, you just try again. It's beautiful. Get it on both sides. There we go. Yeah. Let's just double check, make sure. Oh, no. Get the magnets off there. There we go. I don't want the Shoe Goo on the magnet. Yeah, there it is. That's gonna be good. Yeah, so then that's all the Shoe Goo right there. Well, I got everything glued up. Now it's just, you know, the magnets are just to pry it or to hold it down so that way it doesn't shift at all. But yeah, hopefully that turns out pretty good. Once the magnets are off, I'll show one last little video of that. It should be cured in about an hour or two. Alright, well, it looks like the magnets did their job of holding everything in. Alright. That ain't going anywhere. It turned out pretty good. Hey, thanks for anybody that stuck around for the whole video. I know it was a long one, and they're gonna all be hopefully all about 20 to 30 minutes long. And you know, I hope you guys like it. I'm gonna make them long because I enjoy doing the hobby, and I figure, you guys want to see the process. So, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you with the next part of the project.
Mm.